everybody, and welcome back to the I Don't Know Running podcast, where we share our experiences that make running fun and sometimes not so fun. I'm Lewis. I'm a self-admitted lazy ultra runner, and I guess I'm on a Christmas hangover.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, Christmas is over.
And nobody knows what day it is.
Yeah, and
of the week.
It's been hard for me. Like, I think, like, all the anxiety of all the family stuff and doing all that stuff. And
yeah,
this time of year, the way my health has been, I didn't even want to go. Like, I didn't even want to go to my family's.
Yeah, you mentioned that a little bit walking out last week. Like, oh yeah, Christmas. Yay.
Well,
don't know that I want to go. You've got some
interesting dynamics.
Yeah, you got a lot of dynamics going on that make, it's interesting. You help me appreciate a lot of my blessings that I have. Whether it's health or family, where it's like, you know what? There are people that have it worse than I do. Mitch is one. He's really close. And he's got it rough sometimes.
You know what's really funny is Christmas Eve, all the kids are there, and I'm just not having it, I'm not doing well,
Your personal one
my
at
kids,
home? Okay.
My kids, all my kids are there, and I just don't want to be a problem. So I went upstairs, and I'm just like, okay, I just got to get away from them because I can't be a downer, And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, and I'm just having a hard time.
Wow.
And my daughter got me that.
Yeah.
People care. You know? So I brought it, and I was like thinking, this would be fun.
That's good, though. I mean, it is. It is. I mean, you mentioned she gets me. And, she's not the only one. I will say that. Like, you made a comment of like, she really gets me. And I hope you know that she's not the only one. It just definitely showed.
I think that's where I struggle is this time of year. I'm thinking, just all this stuff going on. And I read the back of that. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
You can't read it now.
No.
Well, you get Kleenex.
But yeah, I mean, it does a lot for me. I mean, I'm so thankful. And it does really help bring me around to, like, okay, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yeah. My first thought to that, your initial feeling of, I just don't want to be a problem, is like, what makes you feel that way?
Because I can't get out of that crappy mood, and I just, they're all having fun and they're playing and stuff like that. And I don't want to be,
I wonder though, if there are times in life where we can't get out of our own way.
I think that's it.
Because I've ran into similar feelings of like, or why am I such a stick in the mud?
Yeah.
And what it boils down to is a lot of my own, and I don't mean, I wouldn't say this to, for me, it boils down to, I don't know, self-pity, self-loathing, maybe it's just age. I'm 50, and it's like, well, 50 plus. And I'm like, man, I'm beyond my, like we talked, I don't know, in the last few weeks, like, man, the good times are behind me, like with running and things like that. But as we have progressed, to Lily's point, as time has progressed and we've built this body of whatever around us, that's not just built for nothing. Like, pouring into your kids showing love back, things like that. Those are all good things that we just need to, counting our blessings, like me recognizing why would I be any kind of stick in the mud when I sit down and talk to you and you show me out in California how many pills you have to take daily. And then I'm like, how do I have any reason to have, and then for you, I go, I don't know, you're still pretty healthy, still pretty good. I get the fact that, you got this, but then you can look at another person and we can go, well, like what, we don't have to name them, but who you've talked to in your local running group recently about them having other health issues, like serious health issues. And his wife just went through health issues.
Yeah.
Things like that. And you go, all right, there are many others that have it way worse than I do.
Well, we joke about that. I think we've brought it up before. It's just like it used to be your parents talk, did you hear about Aunt such and such, and it's like, now it's our friends, and it's just, and I wanted to acknowledge, like, I really appreciate, it's like the thought that went into that and just, it really hit me, and things people are there. It's better than I was really getting stuck with, like just in my own head.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe I hope that speaks to those maybe listening and obviously with you as well, but just like, I think we do need to remember that maybe we all need to maybe do a better job of just saying, hey, how are you doing? Love you. You know what I mean? Because like without that, you still know it, but man, it just goes a long way. And it's not the gift, it's the thought behind it.
Yeah.
Right? You're stuck in this place and
it makes me laugh. She said she was painting it right in front of me, pretty much. So shows how much I'm paying attention, I guess, too.
Well, you're paying attention more than, spoiler alert, Stranger Things. we watched that recently.
You watched this season already?
This season, and we watched last night's, and the mother was all boo-hoo. How did I not check on my 11-year-old? I think it was for like 8 hours or something like that. I mean, not that bad. So,
true.
I think this can be a very difficult season for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. I think that's pretty good that you can recognize it and feel emotion over it. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah. Well,
that is a good thing.
I'm not, my heart's not completely dead yet.
It's not dead. It's in need of repair, literally. You're working on that. But yeah, well, that's, man, I appreciate you sharing that and getting, just real, raw, and authentic.
That wasn't planned. I was just going to point towards it and like, oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah, you didn't go down here and say, I'm going to tie one on here and I'm going to, no.
Darn it.
That came out of left field for sure. I wasn't expecting that. So yeah, I always look at our intros and I always try to think, how does this tie? And I suppose in a little bit of a sense this does, but it's a hard tie.
Let's find a way.
Yeah, I would say that us being in the years that we're in now, the pace of life, we are going to talk about pacing. And at the end of this will all come together because I think there is a little bit of application that we can take out of this for our actual daily life.
And when you first sent this to me, I was thinking like, oh, pacing, that's fun. We both pace. It's like, it's not about that.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different take on it.
Yeah, it is going to be mostly about, the strategy of race pacing, right? Individually, but there's so much that goes into it and what gets you to race day and beyond race day that this is going to talk about. Specifically, this is the psychology of pacing, mindful strategies, and consistent race execution. Now, race, you could fill in the blank for race. It could be life execution. That could be training execution, meeting execution, as in like a work meeting kind of a thing. Like you can fill in that race as a blank consistent blank execution, and how to pace. However, obviously, this is going to be from the racing standpoint, right? Runner's racing standpoint. So yeah, just some questions. Have you ever been out on a run and gone out way too fast? And man, if you're a runner and you're shaking your head, no, I think you're a liar. I think you're a liar.
Well, this is when it really says when you ever when you go out and go way too fast.
Have you ever?
How'd you feel at mile 18?
Yeah, first, how did you feel? You felt amazing mile 2. You know how many times I need to get through this. I keep thinking of something and going to it. Have you ever gone out way too fast because you felt amazing at mile 2? Pause. Every runner listening should say, "Yep, I have," because we've all done it, and then paid for it at mile 18. Now, some might not be able to say yes because they haven't ran a marathon, right? But paid for it at mile 11 of a half. Paid for it at mile, 2 of a 5K even.
Yeah.
Because it's all applicable. And I think if you're a runner, you've done this. Or on the opposite, and some of us can say this, although I doubt as many, starting out too cautiously and realizing you have left too much time on the table. And I think if you've done A, you may have done B because you flipped it and said, I don't want to ever do that again.
And you're like, dang it, where's that sweet spot?
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that a little bit.
I've had friends that, have suggested I start out at like a 10-minute pace. I'm like, the math doesn't work. I'm trying to run this, say, a 3:20. Start out at a 10-minute pace and then speed up. That math don't math.
That doesn't work.
So
there definitely needs to be a steady progression of speed up, not drastic speed up. Pacing isn't just about fitness, watches, or splits. It's mostly about decision-making under stress. And I really like this because think about it, and we'll get into it a little bit. You can have all the pace group, watches, and fitness you want, but if you make a bad decision, it throws all that right out the window.
It could be as simple as stopping to use the bathroom and trying to catch up to that pace group that quickly.
Exactly. Yep. Good pacing equals physical preparation plus mental control. 100%. You obviously have to be physically prepared for your 3:20 or your 4 hours or your whatever. You can't just say, well, I'm just going to mentally control myself and get there. No, you got to put in the training. You do have to put together the physical training.
Your training should have already told you that.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
So today we're going to talk about training your brain to pace your body. What runners think pacing is, hitting exact splits, watching the pace number obsessively.
We've all done that.
Yeah, we've all done that. Running by feel, quote unquote, without structure. Hitting exact splits, I think you could argue can be a pace strategy, and it will work if you've got the training behind it. Doesn't always work.
I go back to when you ran Boston under 3 the first time. Your splits were like right there.
Yeah.
And how did not? Did you look at your watch?
Totally. 100%.
So it wasn't by feel.
No, but I did feel throughout the race, and that did help to dictate execution. So it wasn't just about hitting splits, because, especially for Boston, you do have hills later in the race, and you do have to feel your way through that section. Mm-hmm. And you are giving back time. So you can't just go, this is my split. I'm going to see black dots.
I don't think you gave back that much time, though.
If you look at my 5K splits, because those are 5K splits, but if you look at my mile splits, you will see that I did.
Okay.
Yep. That's the difference. If you look at mile splits, you will see that I went from like 50s, leading into heartbreak. And then at heartbreak, I think it was like, let's say 6:58 or 7:02, something like that. There may be a 7-minute mile in there at heartbreak or a high 6, when in reality I should be at 6:50, 6:48 or something like that. What pacing actually is, a series of it, and I love this, a series of emotional and cognitive decisions. Managing excitement, fear, ego, and discomfort. Those are very key things. Think about a marathon. Excitement in the beginning. Fear throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Ego off and on as you hit highs and lows. And discomfort off and on as you hit those points. I mean, think about a marathon. Man, managing those things is so key. And then staying disciplined when adrenaline spikes or doubt creeps in. Again, making, decision-making under stress. So key. This goes on to say most pacing mistakes happen before fatigue sets in. And I agree.
I think it's, yeah.
Because you feel good. You know how many times we've heard that? Oh, I felt so good though. Yeah, you were 2 miles in.
I have had many friends tell me that same story.
Oh my goodness. I was feeling good. Yeah, you're 5 miles in.
Like you could script it. It's like, okay, insert different name here.
Yeah. It just makes me laugh. I've done it too. I've done it too. Now I have been very disciplined about my marathon execution. So I don't do it often, but there have been a couple of times I felt good. And it's you were running 6:50s in the beginning and now you're running 8:30s.
And this really ties more to marathon or less because ultra pacing is way different than this. Like it's a whole different conversation.
That's true. Yeah.
Unless you're an elite.
Yeah. And I would argue even elites, like you don't negative split a race. You just don't. Not a 100-miler.
Yeah.
I just don't know of one. Walmsley doesn't. His is 100% the race in front of him. And again, race, I think those that are in the position of winning race each other.
So he's just not looking for a PR. He's looking at winning.
He's looking at winning. And if winning means I've got a 8-minute lead 90 miles in and he's redlining, he knows he can give back a little bit on this climb. And he's going to, knowing that getting over it, he can recover and smooth and he'd rather give back 2 minutes there than redline fall out and lose.
True.
So they're definitely, I think there is a little bit of a difference in the leaders in even in a marathon. Look at a marathon. You have 10, 20 guys in the lead pack, right? You think they're hitting their splits? They're hitting the splits of the race.
Yeah.
As it's being doled out by whoever wants to push the pace. So a race might call for them to run a 4:50, right? Or whatever, 5-minute mile. But the whole pack is running 5:10. Well, that might be an adjustment that they're going, I'm going to dial it back to 5:10 in reserve. Or a guy might go, I'm going to drop the hammer and run a 4:30 here and try and drop a bunch of people. That's where it's so different for those guys.
For those versus what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking for a BQ, it's really important that you...
Yeah.
Because that's a difference of, that time is that time.
It's yes, exactly.
It's not win or lose. It's just whether you're in or not.
Yeah, and getting your BQ has nothing to do with the guy next to you that you all of a sudden want to race.
Yep.
That guy doesn't care if you make it, and you're never going to talk to him again. Maybe you are. Maybe it's a friend, but you know what I mean. Some common psychological traps that ruin pacing. The adrenaline trap. Race day hype, 100%. One of the things that I remember hearing and doing myself in the first 3 or 4 miles of a race, ignore your heart rate. stick to, I'm supposed to be doing an 8-minute mile. That's what I'm going to do for the first 4 miles. Because heart rate will go all over the place. And so will your feelings, your emotions, your adrenaline, all of that will be all over the place. They have crowds, music, competition. 100% you're in that pack. You're feeling good. Everybody's excited. You can feel the excitement.
That is tough when if you're running in a group of people and somebody starts taking off, you're thinking and they're actually speeding up. And the temptation is, I'm going to go.
Can't do it. You can't do it. I feel too good to slow down, quote unquote. Heard that, as we've mentioned a ton of times. The comparison game, as you just mentioned, chasing runners who aren't in your race. Your race, as you mentioned, is BQ. Let's say, for instance, that's your only race. It's not Tom or Steve or Samantha.
But how often? It's almost every time you get out there, you see somebody and then you key in on them and you're like, I'm going to stay with that. I'm going to beat that person.
Yeah.
It's almost every time.
Yeah.
And that is a big mistake.
Yes. Letting others dictate your pace, forgetting your plan. That's what you should be sticking to. Fear-based pacing. Starting too slow to, quote unquote, save energy. Fear of blowing up later leads to uneven effort and regret. And yeah, you can say, well, I'll feel good at the end, but that's not an always.
You can start off slow and still feel crap.
Yes. Yeah. And it can lead to this up and down, this slinky effect, this I feel good, I feel bad. And those highs and lows are even bigger. Instead of being more kind of like smooth and evened out.
Or thinking that you're going to take a quick walk break to save energy. And then
dreaded.
And then the next thing you know, you're walking a lot.
A lot, yeah. Excuse me. The watch spiral. Obsessively checking pace or heart rate. Panic when the numbers don't match expectations. Letting the watch override body awareness.
I feel like that when you're actually pacing, carrying a sign, and that's the worst part of it is because you're trying to help other people. And this is different, but it's just, I feel like I obsess over that watch even more than, because you don't want to let people down.
Yeah, I think there is a difference there. We literally want to hit splits. Mm-hmm. We don't care about feeling.
Because we're trying to take that away from them.
Yeah.
So that they're just running with a group.
Yeah.
And you're consistent.
Yeah, I would say that's okay doing that as a pacer. Definitely, because you do want to hit splits. Exact. Let them do their feeling out and be able to watch you, but that's it. And I will say the panic when numbers don't match expectations, I think that's a big one when heart rate starts to take off on you for whatever reason. It might be heart or it might be heat. It might be who knows what happens to your body on race day. And I think it's super important to make those decisions under stress, as we mentioned at the beginning. You that's why you have A, B, and C plans, right? Mm-hmm. Not every day you wake up is going to be, not everything is necessarily going to align. There's so much that happens in the body. So, mindful pacing, what it actually means. Number one, define the mindful pacing. This is awareness without panic, as we just talked about. Don't overreact. Adjustment without overreacting. Staying present instead of projecting pain ahead. That's a big one because you can be at mile, whatever, let's say 12, 14, and for whatever reason, it's just something doesn't feel right. And now panic starts to set in.
This made me think of an interesting thing. Like there's a setting on your watch where you can, the pace, a lot of times I think you get it out of the box and the pace is set up to be instant pace, like that mile split pace.
Oh.
And you have to change it so it shows for the mile.
Yeah. Because
that can get you in trouble. All of a sudden it looks like you're going like way too slow and it's like, yeah, I'm going over a little bump. It's the pace for the mile, not what's going on right now.
Yep. And ignore the first mile or the first quarter of the mile so that it can get stable.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So sometimes, like if you're paying attention like that, make sure you have the right setting on your watch.
Do you know if Garmin, if they don't have this, they should have a setting that is the last half and or I guess what would it be? The current mile you're in? Instead of being when you hit 13, it starts over. And now it's showing you the lap mile you're in. It should just be the 1 mile that you're currently in, and it keeps moving.
Yeah.
So that you can fully see like, oh no, I literally have slowed down the last quarter mile.
Yeah.
Or I've sped up, I need to slow down.
That's interesting. That would be...
Yeah, I don't know if they have that.
If they don't have that...
They should. Trademark.
You could design it.
Design my own watch. That's all it does. Gives you 1 mile of pace that you're in.
And just repeats your word on your other arm.
But yeah, staying present instead of projecting the pain ahead, that's a big one too. Like, yeah, you feel bad now. That does not mean you're going to feel bad later. Just stay where you're at. You're not trying to feel good. You're trying to feel controlled. That's a good one too. And there are times in the race you're just not going to feel good. It's a marathon. But be controlled. Control everything you can.
That is interesting. It's like that checking yourself and saying, how do I actually feel? Like, yeah, this is uncomfortable, but I can do it.
Yeah. Effort before pace. So control your effort before pace. So especially in hills, heat, trails, ultras, effort. Pay attention to effort. Pace is the result, not the goal.
And I think that's important in your training is to pay attention to that so that you know what you're getting into is, you talked about strides per minute and stuff like that. That's when it's important because strides per minute can definitely directly affect that. Like if turnover actually helps with that sometimes.
For sure. Yeah. If you slow down your strides, it's more effort. So it's going to drive that stuff up. So paying attention to all of that and allowing the pace to be the result. Some practical mental strategies for race day. Number one, segment, and this is good. You mentioned this in the beginning. Segment the race mentally. So break it into thirds or landmarks, early, middle, and late. So early equaling restraint, hold yourself back. The thoroughbred that just wants to go, hold it back, control. Middle, find your rhythm, fall into just a nice rhythm. And then late, controlled effort.
And I would say early, that's probably, if you're talking marathon, that's probably the first 10 to 12 miles.
Yeah.
It's not a third.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily.
It's not even. And then the middle is probably from 12 to 20 to 22 where you would hit that wall. And then...
Yeah, I would say middle being, for me, and this would be different for everybody, is going to be, I would say 12-ish to 18 or 20. That's when I know, all right, I'm going to have to start putting in my controlled effort, but physically controlled effort, and I guess mentally it would be too, I got to switch. Going, no, I've done this, I'm ready, I can keep going, tick off mile by mile. That's all you have to worry about because, man, 18 to 20 is when it starts.
And that controlled effort is where the game starts to come in, is to say, can I pick it up a second or two per mile, you know, and getting your head in the game at that point. Because think mentally that's where it really comes in.
Yeah, for sure. And if you've done things, I would say if you've done things by the book, you won't have a ton. You won't knock 30 seconds off a mile, but maybe you can knock 2 to 4 seconds off a mile. I don't know if you're really reserving, maybe 5 to 10, but if you did things right, you're not going to be able to knock off 30.
because mentally it does change. If you can actually
Pick
up a couple seconds, it boosts your mindset.
Huge. Oh, yeah. Huge. Passing people is the biggest motivation versus being passed.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. Use effort anchors. So breathing patterns. How are you breathing? Things like that. The ability to speak short phrases. If you can't speak short phrases at mile 12, you're going too fast. Slow down. Or you're going to be walking in the last 6.
Got it.
Yeah, same. Muscle tension awareness. Feel yourself. Feel your body. Like, what's it doing? What's it telling you? If you run for any amount of time, you should be able to tell that. And then this is good. I like this. Check, don't judge. These are some questions to ask yourself. Don't judge yourself, but do a check. How does this effort feel? Don't judge, just check. If it's feeling too hard, then maybe you got to slow down. Avoid labeling it good or bad. Make small adjustments, not emotional ones. I like that. Make small adjustments, not emotional ones. Don't let emotions control things.
Like if you're one of those people, you could end up like, this sucks. And then walk.
You start going down that road. You have to have positive things to pull you out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pre-plan, and right here, this is what it says, pre-plan emotional responses. What you'll do when you feel amazing early. Stop. Don't tell yourself to go. What are you going to do when you tell yourself? What you should do when you feel amazing early, go, yep, this is perfect, because I am going to reserve all this energy when I know I'm going to need it late in the race.
It just makes me think of that, the early is restraint.
Yeah.
And then you get to that rhythm section and you're like, well, this feels hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you going to tell yourself when it's hard? Have something scripted. Like it says, scripted phrases. This is exactly where I should be. And what I always tell myself at the beginning, what you'll do when you feel amazing early, and I have said this to myself over and over, you can't be going slow enough. You just keep telling yourself that, because early is...
Well, within your goal.
Yeah. I mean, if you're shooting for an 8 minute,
it's okay to go to the slow end of your goal.
Yes.
Okay, 8 minutes is good.
Yeah. And if you feel good, just say, I can't be going slow enough, and just keep running that pace.
Yep.
Trust the boring miles, it says. Early miles should feel almost underwhelming. 100%. It should feel like an easy jog. Totally.
And as you're watching those people run away from you, it's like, they're not running my race.
Well, and I can bet. I've done it so many times.
Catch them.
You will catch them late. Those last 6 miles, you'll be picking them off. Like it's clockwork. Absolutely is clockwork. Boredom, I like this. Boredom equals discipline working. If you're bored in those early miles, that means all your discipline is paying off. Training the mind to pace, not just race day, but in general. So practice pacing in training. I love this. Long runs with negative splits. I do it all the time. All my runs, I try to negative split. Now, I think I have a problem there because I try to do it every run. Every run.
Try to bring it in hard.
Well, I just negative split. Like, it doesn't even have to be like super hard. It's just, I want negative splits. I don't positive split anything. Everything is negative unless I go out too fast and I blow up. Finish strong without surging early. Run without metrics sometimes. Feel-based runs. Learn internal cues. I think that's good. Even if you want to take your watch with you, but maybe don't have pace or time up, but just track it and see how you feel and then compare. How did I feel compared to how those looked? I think that's a really good practice.
I do that quite a bit, though. It's just not, especially on training runs, is just not look at my watch and just look at the data later.
Yeah.
I think you get too tied up in it.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I think those are good learning tools. Post-run reflection, where did the effort drift if something happened? What went wrong? I know for me that happens on long runs mostly because if it's a 20-mile run, it's going to be hot, and I break down, where did it drift? I probably got, right here. What emotions influenced pace? And I can guarantee I want to be able to go fast on race day. So I'm going to push it here. It just doesn't work. So yeah, it says race day pacing is just a mirror of training habits. So when pacing goes wrong, what to do? Well, number one, normalize it. Even elite runners blow pacing sometimes. It's part of the learning process. And it is interesting. Elite runners that are out there to win it, man, sometimes you see them fall way back. Reframe the failure. Bad pacing equals data, not a moral failure. Ask, why did I make that decision? Really good things. Or, what do you like to ask?
What did you learn?
What did you learn?
Not everybody likes to hear that, though.
Well, you got to choose when to ask them that.
Day after the race, I think is the perfect
hours.
time.
That's not usually good. Encouragement. Better pacing comes from awareness, not perfection. So know that. And the only way you're going to become more and more aware is unfortunately through some failures, but learn from them. So here are some final thoughts. Core message is the strongest runners are not just fit, they're patient. Pacing is emotional intelligence in motion. I really like those kinds of things that they're saying in this. One simple takeaway is just that if it feels too easy early, that's usually correct. Not wrong, that is correct. It should feel too easy. If you have put in all the proper training for a marathon or, whatever event you're in, and you're out there and it's feeling easy in those first ones, but you're hitting your goal pace, trust it and just stay there. Do not pick it up until you're supposed to pick it up. And lay out a plan. I guess that's the other part of this. Don't just go into a marathon or, a distance like that willy-nilly and be like, I'll just get out there. I'm supposed to run around an 8-minute pace, so I'll just do that. Man, do some proper training or some proper... I mean, do what you want, I guess. But man, my most successful races, I mapped out, I looked at the course. I looked at where the hills were. I looked at how the course laid out. Now here in the Midwest, it's not too bad, but even Boston, man, I put in work on laying out a pace plan, and it heavily involved restraint in those beginning miles.
Especially if you're going for a PR.
Yeah.
It makes sense to look at the elevation chart, at all that stuff and say, what am I going to do here?
Where are the aid stations?
Yeah.
How often?
Yep.
Things like that. That all matters and it helps a ton.
I mean, I've done a lot of races where I don't care. I'm going to run the race.
And that's different.
But if I'm going there and I want to do well,
true,
you want to pay attention a lot more.
So try one mindful pacing strategy on your next long run. Reflect, don't react, and just see how that does for you. And then a final piece here, just to take away from this, it says beyond the finish line, applying this, and we did mention this on the front end of this, applying mindful pacing to life, the transferable skill here. How consistent effort in running translate to personal and professional goals. You can use this throughout. That kind of patience and restraint in the beginning, you can apply those same things to a difficult conversation you're going to have with a coworker, where you gotta exercise some restraint in the beginning, because things can get way too emotional, and then you let emotions make decisions, and that's never a good thing. So these are real things you can use, and the more you practice them, the better you are able to execute these. Mm-hmm. Developing patience and discipline, building mental fortitude through race execution. And then finally, your personal pacing plan, exceptional steps to integrate these strategies into your next race and beyond. So practice these throughout your training and put them into place in a race going forward, and apply them to your daily life. Pretty good tips there, I think.
I think so. I'd like that one.
Yeah, some pretty good stuff to take away. But yeah, put some of these into place and tell us maybe some tips, some strategies that you use to stay on pace. Some of the pre-scripted things that get you out of the basement or help you to restrain yourself. Put those in the comments.
Yeah.
Let's hear those.
I want to hear, people's personal race story too. Like we talked about your Boston. I've had a couple races too. I had one in Connecticut where, I just remember that last mile thinking, I want that negative split. And I only have this far. I'm killing myself. And then there's just a little bit of a rise to the finish line. And I'm like, I am going to get this. Come with that rise. I think I look like Rocky coming up. I'm like, just everything I got. And it's like, I'm not racing anybody. But I want to have that negative split. And I got it.
Yeah.
It's exciting to do it.
It is. Yeah, and it is. And it's good to say, well, yeah, do this for a PR type race, but do it for any race where you just want to have a solid race from A to B, from start to finish.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is with a race plan and pacing yourself.
Yep.
So, yeah, well, hope everybody had a great Christmas and enjoyed some peace and grace abound for everybody. Go check us out on Facebook. Go check us out on YouTube, Patreon, things like that. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And that is going to wrap up this week's episode of the I Don't Know Running podcast. Be sure to tune in next time as we share more about what we just don't know.
Until then, happy running.